Hey guys, it is Sunday, April 3rd. It is 10:41 p.m. and I am irritated. Went to go see Batman vs. Superman again today after I got off work. Came home, was planning to shoot my review. By the time I got home, it was already almost 7:30, something like that. And so I decided to turn on WrestleMania and watch it. And I was like, you know what? I'll do the review tomorrow morning before I go to work. No big deal. So I was watching WrestleMania, mostly enjoying it. And about 20 minutes ago, I was probably halfway through it. WWE Network just crashed. Cut completely out in the middle of what I was watching. Couldn't find my way back. Went back in to it, clicked play from the beginning. I was going to fast forward my way to where I was, and it took me like to the end and had the biggest match of the night spoiled for me. So I was not happy about that. Not happy at all. I'm sitting here wearing my Undertaker t-shirt all day, ready to watch that match. Bullshit. But anyway, I'm not here to talk about that. I'm not here to talk about wrestling. I took that as a sign that I need to turn the camera on and go ahead and do my review of Batman vs. Superman. I have seen it twice now. I wanted to wait till I was able to go back and watch it again, because there is so much in that movie. There's so much stuff that the first time I watched it, I enjoyed it. I was paying attention to the plot. The second time I went back, I was like, okay, I want to go watch it again, because now that I know what happens, I want to try to pay attention to some of the little details in it that I might have missed. I am going to try to do this review spoiler-free up till the end. And I will let you know when I get to the end, and I'm going to talk spoilers, so you can cut it off if you haven't seen it. It has been out for 9 days now. I think that it has made, I think the latest figure was somewhere around 630 something million. It's done pretty well. It had a pretty steep drop off second weekend. It's definitely one of those movies that's going to make all its money in the first couple of weeks or so. And then I have a feeling it's going to start declining. It had a major decline at Second Friday. It only made like $15 million Second Friday. So, if you guys watched my other little mini parking lot review that I did for it, I believe that I gave it a 6 out of 10. Second viewing, I'm gonna bump that up to 7, almost 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed this. I thought that it was very good. I thought that there were a lot of really, really strong things about the movie. There was also some stuff that was pretty weak, and I'm just gonna try to break that down for you. The things that were very strong about this movie. Jesse Eisenberg's performance. I know a lot of people didn't like it, thought it was a little bit too manic. I thought it worked for what it was, though. A lot of people are saying, you know, it's not what we're used to with Lex Luthor. Well, he's not Lex Luthor. He's Lex Luthor Jr. That's an important distinction, I think, to be remembered about this, is that he is Lex Luthor Jr. He's not trying to play Gene Hackman's character from the original. He's putting his own spin on it. And yes, a lot of people, you know, are saying that it just seems like it was Jesse Eisenberg playing Mark Zuckerberg playing Lex Luthor. And it kind of is in a lot of ways, but that's Jesse Eisenberg's performance style. That's how almost all of his characters are. I thought it worked, though. For what they were going for with this, it seems that everybody's going to be younger, a little bit younger versions. A of all the characters, with the exception of Batman, which is, I think, an odd choice, but at the same time, I really like it. I like the idea of an older, grizzled, semi-retired Batman, and more importantly, an older, experienced Bruce Wayne being at the forefront of this idea of the Justice League, while everybody else is young, younger kids. I like that idea. I think it's going to work well. Ben Affleck's performance is out of this world in this movie. I mean, it is phenomenal, truly phenomenal. As both Bruce Wayne and Batman, he knocks it out of the park. Henry Cavill as Superman, he gets the job done. I'll just say that. He's pretty good as Superman. He's pretty good as Clark Kent. He's not outstanding in either role, but his performance gets the job done. He's a little bit stoic and a little bit one-dimensional, I thought. Better in Man of Steel than in this one. And I think a lot of that had to do with there was a little bit more backstory, and there was more with his family. There's not as much, it's just him and Lois Lane. But I will say this, Henry Cavill and Amy Adams have pretty good on-screen chemistry, and I buy their relationship. Now, let's talk Gal Gadot. Now, I wasn't sure what to think when I first saw that she had been cast as Wonder Woman. I will admit that I was hesitant about that one. And no, not for the reasons that a lot of people were. You know, a lot of people had two big reasons for not wanting her to be Wonder Woman. As bullshit. It wouldn't matter. My hesitation was more because the only thing I had really seen her in was the Fast and the Furious movies. And while she was fine in those, she wasn't phenomenal in them, but nobody really was in those movies, you know. But she did great. She actually did really, really good. I enjoyed her presence in the movie more than I thought that I would. Her character was great. The way she played it was great. It really worked, and I'm really looking forward to her solo movie now. I think that she's strong enough in this character role to be able to pull off that Wonder Woman solo movie without a hitch. Now, the story works. It doesn't work as well as it could, and this is really my main issue with the movie. And that is that this is Zack Snyder trying to tackle something that maybe he's not ready for. This is the same vein as Watchmen. Watchmen was an enjoyable movie. It's kind of boring at times. It's kind of slow. It's not for everybody. But this is, again, Zack Snyder trying to take on something that, in the world of comic books, is huge and just not quite having enough to make it work. You know, with Watchmen, he tried to film something that a lot of people thought was impossible. And a lot of people still think it's impossible. To try to do justice to the Watchmen graphic novel, which is a masterpiece in its own right. And Zack Snyder, again, made a decent attempt at it, but it's such a deep story, and it's such a big story that it's so hard to get everything right. You can only focus on so much in that. And, you know, Watchmen was dealing with, and the reason why I'm making the comparison is because there's a lot of similarities in these two. It's dealing with the consequences of actions. Who's there to step in when when we have given a superhero too much power. You know, in Watchmen, it was Dr. Manhattan. In this one, it's Superman. These are two characters that are basically indestructible and gods. And what happens when they've amassed too much power and they feel like they can do anything they want? That's what this movie was trying to answer. That's the question that this movie was trying to answer. And more specifically, that was the question that Bruce Wayne was trying to answer, and that's the whole point of the movie. Bruce Wayne feels that Superman has too much power. He's mad at him because during the Battle of Metropolis, he destroyed one of his buildings that ended up crumbling to the ground, and people died. People that he knew, his employees, you know, and that's how this whole thing comes about, you know. Superman is having a bit of an identity crisis. Does the world need Superman anymore? Should he step down? Blah, 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 blah. But really, it's, you know, Lex Luthor is behind the whole thing. He's mapping so much of this out. He's not behind the attack on Metropolis, that's not what I'm saying, but he's behind the whole idea of Batman fighting Superman. He's set this whole thing up. But that's not as important. What's important is that this is a topic that needs to be discussed in comic book movies, and this is, you know, with the exception of Watchmen and some small things here and there throughout other comic book movies, I know that it, you know, it was just, you know, this was a big thing that was discussed in X-Men: The Last Stand, which I know a lot of people want to forget ever happened, but they tried to tackle this as well. Should superheroes be held accountable for their actions? Yes, they should. This is what Civil War is going to be tackling here in another couple of months. Will they do it better? I don't know. They might, but I don't think it's going to have the same impact as this one. Because this is the one that really needed to be done right. Because this isn't just somebody, you know, Superman isn't just somebody that has extra strength or all this. He's literally an alien god, you know? He's practically indestructible except for one little thing, which of course they fell back on in this movie, and I had a problem with that. Why do they always have to fall back on kryptonite? There are other ways to handle things. I hate that kryptonite is such a crutch for Superman movies. Every Superman movie, it's always, oh, well, let's get our hand on some kryptonite. But at least in this movie, they gave a valid explanation for why they're falling back on it. Because it's the only thing they know. Now remember, this movie is only the second in the reboot of Superman. This is not an established character yet in this universe. He's only had one other movie before now. So, of course they're going to fall back on that because it's all they know. You know, the first movie took place over a couple of months, and then the Battle of Metropolis happens, and this movie picks up 18 months after that. So, it's all they know. They're trying to find out as much about Superman as they can, and they don't know anything. You know? I like that they barely gave any sort of an origin story for Batman. Actually, they really gave no origin story for Batman, except to show his parents' murder at the beginning. And like I said in my other short little video that I did, it is almost worth paying the price of ticket just to see those first 5 minutes. His parents' murder outside the theater. It is beautifully shot, beautifully choreographed. Everything about it was perfect. It's such a Zack Snyder moment, but it works so well. I don't know. I guess my main thing with this movie is that it felt like they were trying to do something really big and something really important, and they just couldn't quite get there. They only got like 80% of the way there. They weren't able to focus enough on the aspects of the consequences of being this overpowered, and more importantly, the consequences for the rest of the world dealing with your superpowers. You know, Superman didn't have to deal with his consequences. Not really. Because Lex Luthor was behind the whole thing. But all these bad things were happening. And he was getting blamed for everything. And there wasn't enough fallout from that. There wasn't enough dealing with those consequences. And I thought that that's what the movie should have focused on. And more importantly, I felt that it should have focused on the consequences of Batman's actions. Because Batman is a straight up vigilante in this one. I mean, this is like first 2 seasons of Arrow kind of stuff. Like, he doesn't care. He's killing people indiscriminately and just trying to get the job done. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. And I also liked that he wasn't in the suit quite as much. He played Bruce Wayne a lot instead of Batman. And he was playing Bruce Wayne, the detective. And I thought that that really worked. And I thought that that was important for them trying to set up the Justice League. Because I have a feeling that when Justice League rolls around, he's not going to be Batman as much as he's going to be Bruce Wayne, the detective. Helping them to plan out what needs to happen and what they need to do. So, like I said, it's good. You need to remember that this is trying to be an important movie. They can't quite get there. It is a Zack Snyder movie. Those are things you have to expect. Go into it open-minded. I think you're really going to enjoy it. I think you're going to enjoy it a little bit more even the second time around, because I know I did. I was able to catch little details that I had missed the first time, and that's really why I wanted to go back to watch it again. Catch any little details about Justice League, character introductions, setting up, just the things setting up for Justice League. Like, I wanted to see some more of the details about who the villain might be in Justice League, and I think there were some major hints dropped. And apparently there's some stuff in the extended edition that I can't wait to come out to see all those. So yeah, I'm going to end this part here, and I'm going to do another couple of minutes, but there's going to be some major spoilers in it. So if you haven't seen it yet and don't want anything spoiled, then stop here and enjoy. Be on the lookout for some more videos from us coming soon. We're going to continue on with our Pee Wee Herman stuff, and look for some more stuff coming. Like that's all. All right, spoilers now. Superman dies. That sucks. And a lot of people are wondering, the very last scene is literally a shot of Clark Kent's grave with a handful of dirt laying on top, and the dirt starts to rise up a little bit. A lot of people are wondering what that means. Well, go back and watch Man of Steel. First time he flies, he has his fist on the ground, and the snow starts to come up in the same way. So obviously it's just an indication that he's going to come back. Of course Superman's not dead. Henry Cavill has already signed on for Justice League Part 1. So of course he's not dead. But the big question about that is, how are they going to explain Clark Kent coming back after Superman comes back? Or is Clark Kent going to come back? Is he just going to be Superman? Not just go away with alter ego totally? Just be Superman? Because I think that'd be great. As he has the lamest alter ego that there is. I'm sorry. The introduction for the Justice League characters. Amazing. I love the way they did it, that they were little computer files, like little videos that showed them that they found the metahuman thesis that Lex Luthor was working on. I thought that worked. Aquaman looked amazing. I'm not sure what was going on with the Cyborg clip. That was really weird. I had to do a little bit of research to find out what that big box was, and I'll talk about that again in a sec. Most importantly, the one that had the Flash. Now, I'm super excited to see this version of the Flash, even though I do wish that they would cross the TV universe and movie universe over. I understand why they're not doing it. But who they have playing the Flash is Ezra Miller, who I think is fantastic. He was so good in Perks of Being a Wallflower. He was one of the best parts of that movie. things to this. They're obviously going much younger Flash, but he is fast. They have this set up to where he is going to be ridiculously fast. This is not going to be first season of Flash kind of stuff where he's trying to find the speed. No, he already has it. There was a really weird part. Bruce Wayne had some really weird dreams, but one of them is very important. He has a vision of a future where Superman has basically almost turned villain. It very much felt like it was something pulled out of Injustice. Lois is dead. Superman captures Batman and ends up killing him. It was crazy, but the important part of it was that it was this whole barren wasteland of Gotham. I'm assuming that it was Gotham. It might have been Metropolis. But it was like a barren wasteland. And there were two things in that I recognized immediately and got me very, very excited about Justice League. And that was the Omega symbol that was like burned into the ground. And one of the things that was helping Superman, besides apparently Superman gets his own secret police force, were parademons. Add that on to the big black mother box that was used to help build Cyborg in his little clip, and those all point to Darkseid. And if they're going to pull Darkseid into Justice League as the main villain, then that is going to be awesome, but it's also going to be crazy. Because Darkseid is literally a god. Not like Superman. Superman's just an alien. No, Darkseid is an old god. He's basically DC Universe's version of Thanos. Well, actually, I guess you should say that Thanos is Marvel's version of Darkseid. But Darkseid is ridiculously overpowered. He literally can almost do whatever he wants. So, curious to see where that goes. And the end, like I said, the end of the movie is Bruce Wayne and Princess Diana saying that we need to find the rest of these people. They have the files, so they're going to go off to find them, and we're going to go from there. So we'll see. So far, the DC Universe, I think it's doing good things. I think it's taking some. It seems to really be jumping in. It's not doing any sort of a slow burn like Marvel did. They're really just throwing everything right out there. They're really getting into it deep from the beginning, and I think that that is an interesting way to try to build their cinematic universe, and I just hope it doesn't implode on them. I know they're doing it because they need to get ahead, because Marvel has, a 10-year head start on them, almost, plus they want to do this before the bubble collapses, because, I'm sorry, comic book movies, while they've been around for a long time, this particular time's version of it, I think that the bubble is getting too big too fast, and there's a possibility that it might collapse. I know a lot of people are already getting burned out on superhero movies and comic book movies. I am not so far. I'm still looking forward to every one of them, but let's hope that it holds on, and let's hope we can keep going. So that's all for now. I'm going to hop off here, try to get this edited, and try to get it posted pretty soon. Stay tuned for more. Talk to you later.